This sequence of shots may be the single most masterful use of the Kuleshov effect in the history of cinema. Mason, what the fuck are you talking about? I hear you exclaim, bewilderedly questioning if this YouTuber you barely know has finally lost his mind. No, I have not, and what I'm talking about is art. You might be thinking, what the hell? All I see is Mr. Bean looking at a Mr. B. And to that I say, dear viewer, you see but you do not observe. Man vs. Bee is absolutely spectacular. This short, energetic little mini-series over the course of 9 incredibly short episodes manages to delve into deep analysis of the human psyche, dissecting and showcasing the inner struggles of man in a masterful manner, the like of which I have never seen. On a surface level, Man vs. Bee follows Trevor Bingley as he house sits for a rich couple in their modern, technologically advanced house. There, a war arises between him and a very determined, very persistent bee as he tries his absolute best to obliterate it, but fails spectacularly each time, causing further destruction to the household with every attempt. How, then, does this slapstick piece of humor dive so deep into the human heart and perfectly convey the chaos of its inner workings? Well, throughout the series, we learned that Trevor has gone through a messy divorce and has had a bad history of employment. Everywhere he works, he seems to obsess over something, which pushes him towards self-sabotage. But we also realize that Trevor is lonely, and his one true goal is reconnecting with his teenage daughter, who seems to be the only person in his life who still has faith in him and who truly loves him. Trevor is trying to do this job right to hopefully make some money to be able to take her camping. That is his primary goal. The heart of the story all lies here. Going back to the first shot, how does this shot manage to perfectly utilize the Kuleshov effect to a wildly successful degree? And not only that, but also uses it in a complex, multi-layered way. First, in case you're unfamiliar, the Kuleshov effect is, to put it briefly, a cognitive event that allows viewers to derive meaning from the interaction of two shots in sequence. Lev Kuleshov, a Russian filmmaker, came up with this theory and then proved it through an infamous example. The same shot of this man is repeated with a different subsequent shot every time, and every time we derive different meaning. Man plus coffin, we understand that the man is sad, sadness. Man plus food, we understand that the man is hungry, hunger. Man plus woman, we understand that the man is horny, lust. Even though the shots of the man are identical, we derive different meaning from their interaction with a subsequent shot based on the nature of that shot. Back to Man vs. Bee, here we see the man, our protagonist Trevor, coming face to face with a bee. What is the derived meaning here? At first glance, shock, surprise, anger, frustration. The bee has just infiltrated the rich couple's library, causing the dog to follow, which leads to mayhem and destruction of very valuable artwork. This sequence of shots is a moment of realization as Trevor discovers the true culprit and originator of this mess. But this is just our surface level derived meaning. There is more, but this added meaning doesn't become clear until 7 episodes later in episode 8. Trevor has been struggling to defeat this bee all throughout the past 8 episodes, but is still failing no matter what he does, until eventually he realizes something as he gazes upon the bee peacefully descending nearby.
These solitary bees have no choice but to live out their days alone, homeless, hiveless, friendless.
Similar to the bee, Trevor has been divorced, ejected from the hive by the female bee, from the only home he's ever known. He is homeless, friendless, hiveless. Thus, we understand the association. Trevor and the bee are counterparts, reflections of one and the same. Trevor is the bee, just as the bee is Trevor. Episode 8's realization brings new meaning to the sequence in episode 1. Trevor isn't just shocked and furious at discovering the bee's involvement, he's instead gazing into a mirror, the glass of the library door, a portal of metamorphosis, a barrier displaying Trevor in another form. And this look, this moment of realization is one where Trevor sees this too. A certain kind of recognition arises as it dawns on him that he is gazing at himself. And that is exactly why the war begins, why he starts doing his best to destroy this bee. It's because the bee is a buzzing reminder of himself, and his war with it is a reflection of the war inside his own heart, the result of of his own self-loathing. This bee is a force of destruction, causing him to mess up the house and destroy his job in the process. It is a representation of his self-sabotaging nature, the constant self-destruction which he unconsciously brings onto himself, all as a result of his deep, entrenched self-hatred. He was fired from Asda because of an evil trolley. He lost his job at an estate agency because of a shredder. And now, in his newest job, it is the bee. But in truth, there is no bee. There is no shredder, no evil trolley. There are merely manifestations of self-sabotage, spurred on by Trevor's own self-hatred. But why does Trevor hate himself? Well, he's lost the only family he's ever had, the only home he's ever had, and has thus subsequently torpedoed into the cycle of self-destruction. He doesn't believe that he deserves good things, and thus he destroys every opportunity he has. Those around him have no faith in him, save for his daughter, and this has subsequently made him lose faith in himself. And so he faces the bee, tries to get rid of the bee, tries to kill the bee, because all it is a reminder of himself. A destructive, homeless loner.
I want you to go away! Please go away.
He just wants this part of him to go away, the loser, the self-sabotage. He wants it to die so that he can finally resume his life again and finally be good again to himself and to those around him. The struggle finally ends in the final episode. Trevor burned the couple's house down and went to prison, but there discovered that the husband had planned for his house and artwork to be damaged so he could get insurance money. He reports him, gets freed from prison, and is rewarded for it. Finally, he takes his daughter out camping as he'd promised. But this time, as the bee descends, even though his first instinct is to attack, he changes his mind, breathing out a sigh of relief. He is relaxed, at peace. He has succeeded at something, one way or another, by leading to the apprehension of the husband/fraudster. He has been monetarily rewarded. He managed to finally take his daughter out for camping. He's finally winning, finally proving to everyone around him that he is indeed worth something. And with that, the self-loathing disappears. It's a beautiful ending as we realize that Trevor has finally accepted himself, and by extension has accepted the bee. The war with his own demons has ended as he presents the bee with a piece of food and watches it contentedly. The internal struggle has ended. He is now whole, at peace. Trevor is finally happy. Until he tries to smash the bee again. The war is not over. The war inside man's heart will never be over. The struggle for self-acceptance will never end. Man can't and will never be content with who he is or what he has. And so that war resurges, the flames of hatred reigniting as Trevor once more sets his sights on destroying the bee, destroying himself. And what better ending to encapsulate the true nature of mankind, the chaos that lives in our hearts at every waking moment. The struggles of man versus himself. This is right.